like the cash receipts now takes me probably 15 minutes, what it took me
Hours.
an hour and a half probably before.
Wow.
Like I save an hour a day probably already just with that.
Here's a quick video of a huge improvement that Betty and Sherry made at Lamar Trailers. They were eliminating waste, and what I love about it is they stopped and took the time to think, why are we doing it the way that we're doing it? And they went and fixed something that bugged them, and it turned out to be a huge improvement. So great job. Take a look at this.
At the end of the year, well, before the end of the year, I went to Kimberly and I said, why do we have to keep all these papers? You know, like there's just too much. I'm like, it takes hours and hours of filing, and I just felt like it was a waste of your money. I mean, paying me to file, it was just very costly, and the paper was very costly. So we came up with our own little thing, and now we just...
What do you do now?
Matt will bring me the packing slip, and I will post the invoice. I will not print the invoice.
Okay,
So
no printing.
No more printing invoice.
And like it saves me so much time too. Like first of all, it saves you time because when it wants to print, it spins and spins. I think right?
Has that little wheel that turns around and around on the screen.
So that took a long time till you had printed it. And so it saves you each time,
And we really never need. We had no need to print all the invoices because they're in the system. We can always look at them. We don't mail out copies of invoices. I just email them. So there was never any reason to ever print all that.
Go ahead and transfer.
But we've done it like this for years.
You're welcome.
Well,
Isn't
we're
that a
learning.
reason to keep it that
But
way?
we're learning. No, because we're saving you a lot of money.
Yeah, well, thanks for stopping and wondering, why are we doing it the way we're doing it? So a lot less walking back and forth, a lot less printing and filing. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and then
Our
when
time.
the checks come, then I don't, like, it saves me a lot of time finding those invoices, matching them up. Like the cash receipts now takes me probably 15 minutes, what it took me an hour and a half probably before. Like I save an hour a day probably already just.
And me probably at least that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a day.
That's a huge improvement.
Yeah, it's been
All
wonderful.
right, good job. Let's see. And so even in the office, we can be lean, right? We can save work in the office, not just in the shop.
I'm gonna get rid of my filing cabinet.
Less filing cabinets.
Yes.
All right.